Morning. It's 4 o'clock on the 15th of January and it's finally time to go. Pretty much said our goodbyes and just got to pack our bags in the car and be dropped off at the airport. Super tired so early in the morning, but we're excited.
Doesn't really matter what we do. Don't let the moment pass us by. Just trust that the universe is right. 'Cause we struck gold in the shining light, and it's all gonna be alright. This is the good life. Oh, 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 oh. This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life. This is the good life.
Hey guys, so hopefully I'm looking a tad bit more civilized since I've lost my lockdown hairstyle. So yeah, made it to New Zealand after 3 flights and 38-ish hours in half the world. We got there, arriving to a spectacular sunrise flight over the mountains, which was epic. Our waking up early in the morning and having my slight bit of visa issues was luckily rewarded by being some of the only people on the plane, which meant extra snacks and loads of space to lounge about in, which was great for our first long haul flight. And talking of long haul flights, that flight to Australia is a long haul flight. Yeah, we finally made it. So yeah, after a good sleep, try to get rid of some jet lag and getting to know the family a bit, who I hadn't seen in nearly 10 years at this point, who were kind enough to give us a place to stay, which is one of the reasons we could afford to try and do this at all, which is, needless to say, immensely appreciated. That being said, we were eager to go out and explore Christchurch. Christchurch, despite the fact that it's the second largest city in New Zealand and the biggest on South Island, seems surprisingly small when you come from a city like Johannesburg. It is always amazing, however, to see the mountains overlooking it, and a definite change of scenery coming from Johannesburg. And quite surprising that after years and years, also I think 10 years, I could be wrong, don't quote me on it. It was also quite surprising to see the amount of earthquake damage in the centre of town. It must have been one hell of an earthquake, to say the least. One of the great things about Christchurch is it's on the coast, which means beaches, swimming and fish and chips and all those good things. That being said, one of the places we visited the most often was Victoria Park, which was just up the road from my aunt and uncle's house. Despite the fact that it was only, I think, 20 minutes from town, if that, and surrounded by suburbs, the moment you got a little bit into the park, it felt like you were in the middle of nowhere, and the trees were massive. And then do my whole it's so hot. Made it. It's good. Next time take water.
So it was a lot of fun to get to know the family and to explore Christchurch. There were so many distinctive differences. The roads were neatly painted, they were clean, there was no litter. All of the traffic lights were working. People were abiding by the rules of the road. And the homes were the most distinctive that stood out for me. And I think a lot of South Africans will actually notice this. There were no crossbars on the windows. There were no high walls, no electric fencing on the walls. The walls were actually made from wood instead of bricks. And there were no electric gates. In actual fact, most of the homes had no gates unless they had animals or dogs there. And it actually drove home how safe it could actually be there compared to South Africa. It was just so completely different. It was beautiful, but unfortunately time was a little bit against us, as well as finances. I needed to start to look for work, so I got a teaching agency to help me apply for vacancies in the North and South Islands. I personally also applied for vacancies, trying to get into the same year or age group that I was teaching in, that I taught in South Africa. And I also decided then, with the help of my auntie, Aunt Moira, she helped me print out some of my CVs, and I personally went to some of the schools, especially high schools, because I realized that some of the high schools had sewing classes as a subject, textiles. And that was perfect because I did a community program at my previous school to teach women in the community to sew, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought this would be perfect. So I opened myself up to volunteer, which implies not being compensated for it, and that's fine because that gives me experience and connections. And luckily I was asked to come back to Hagley because the teacher, Robin, needed extra hands on to teach the sewing, and she needed someone, and they asked me to come in. And the Hagley is a school for students who struggle mainstream, but they are very, very artistic, and it was just the perfect place to be. And the kids were great. I enjoyed teaching them. They had such amazing personalities. And there were so many things that I picked up that I thought were actually great, and I wish that schools in South Africa would focus more on than just academics. And to alleviate the stress of looking for work and the finances, we explored the city a little bit more, and we explored places like Willowbank Nature Reserve and the Christchurch Botanical Gardens, which is the next clip.
So what do you think of the Botanical Gardens?
It's quite cool.
They're cool, aren't they? Awfully peaceful. Nothing like Joburg ones, eh?
But this is our first taste of New Zealand. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to carry on watching our adventure and to see how we carry on looking for work, exploring the city in New Zealand itself, all the while with looming threats that ended up being a global pandemic. Bye.